months ago, Donald Trump stated the following: the United States will take over the Gaza Strip. Let's make one thing loud and clear to Donald Trump, to Netanyahu, and to the Zionist entity: Gaza is not for sale. Palestine is not for sale.
All right, y'all. In case you haven't heard, President Trump has announced his plan, intention, or maybe it's just a suggestion to take over the Gaza Strip. Now, people are losing their minds, but they're not giving it a chance to really listen and understand what the alternatives are. As of right now, there's nothing but bloodshed and death going on the Gaza Strip between Israel and Palestine. And as you may know, this is a war that is bigger than anything that the U.S. can actually solve as far as from an ideological perspective. This is bigger. This isn't just a war of words. This is a cultural war. Some even consider it to be more of a spiritual battle going on between the Jewish and the Arab people. Now, Trump's idea of the United States coming in and taking over the Gaza Strip to rebuild it, make it habitable, because as of right now, in case you haven't seen any of the pictures of it, it is completely destroyed. There is nothing there. And I totally understand the people, wanting to remain and kind of, seek refuge on what they consider to be their land. But we act as if the Israelis are going to stop. They're not. Death is going to keep pouring on. There's 1.7 million Palestinians, and Trump is reaching out to other nations, Saudi Arabia, some of the other places, Egypt, to see if they would be willing to accept Palestinians on their land. Now, from a Palestinian perspective, it's like, man, this was our land. We were uprooted out of it so that Israel can become a state. And since that time, been getting pushed back and back and back and back. So what's the alternative? Well, we have two. One is what's going on now can keep going on, and we can end up in a place where the Palestinian people get completely wiped out. Now, some may say they much rather go through that than to be uprooted and forced out as a matter of principle. But as a matter of practicality, is that something that you or anybody else will really want to see? More destruction and more people losing their lives. As a matter of fact, the media is already doing what they can to put as much negative juice on it without really asking themselves, what is the alternative? You see, what led us into this in the first place is weakness. Weakness from the Biden administration, which is what created October the 7th. Because the other side feared no retribution, whether it be the Houthis, Hamas, Iran. They were broke. They had no money. And Joe Biden wheeling and dealing gave them billions of dollars. You remember that deal where he gave up $6 billion for hostages? And what that did is that enriched them again, enriched them to the point where they were able to start making weapons, were able to start making strategic moves, i.e. what led to October the 7th. Now, the United States over the last 2 years have been backpedaling and dancing with this. Joe Biden never, ever, ever put his foot on Hamas's neck or gave Israel a stern enough, directive to help them do what they could to appease it more. Now, regardless on which side you stand on, there's just a lot of people losing their lives. So let's check out what the Associated Press had to say about it. Associated Trump suggests the U.S. takeover the Gaza Strip is rejected by allies and adversaries alike. Dubai, United Arab Emirates, President Donald Trump's proposal that the United States take over the Gaza Strip and permanently resettle its Palestinian residents was swiftly rejected and denounced on Wednesday by American allies and adversaries alike. Trump's suggestion came at a White House news conference with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who smiled several times as the president detailed a plan to build new settlements for Palestinians outside the Gaza Strip and for the U.S. to take ownership in redeveloping the war-torn territory into the Riviera of the Middle East. The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it too, Trump said. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous, unexploded YAMS, you see the word, and other weapons on the site. Level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out, create an economic development that will supply unlimited number of jobs. The comments came amid a fragile ceasefire between Israel and Hamas, during which the militant group has been turning over hostages in exchange for the release of prisoners held by Israel. Egypt, Jordan, and other American allies in the Middle East have already rejected the idea of relocating more than 2 million Palestinians from Gaza elsewhere in the region. Following Trump's remarks, Egypt's foreign minister issued a statement stressing the need for rebuilding without moving the Palestinians out of the Gaza Strip. Saudi Arabia, an important American ally, quickly weighed in on Trump's expanded idea to take over the Gaza Strip in a sharply worded statement, noting that its long call for an independent Palestinian state was a firm, steadfast, and unwavering position. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia also stresses what it had previously announced regarding its absolute rejection of infringement on the legitimate rights of the Palestinian people, whether through Israeli settlement policies, annexation of Palestinian lands, or efforts to displace the Palestinian people from their land, the statement said. So what we're looking at already right now is a whole lot of the allies, so to speak, at least so the media says, the allies rejecting Trump's plan. Now, what they may be rejecting is Trump's plan of outright displacement. But do you know why? It's the same thing that's going on in America right now. You know, when you take in a whole bunch of people that's not loyal to your country, that actually have ties to groups and organizations that are known for destruction, like the supporting powers behind the Palestinian people, be it the Houthis or Hamas, you run a risk of bringing that into your country. You run a risk of those same groups getting together and creating upheavals and problems within the construct of your own country. So it's terrifying. Like, the United States isn't going to take on all those Palestinians because of their association with Hamas and with the Houthis. As a matter of fact, the Houthis were just labeled as a T-word group, as you know, an extremist group. So the fact that they're saying, oh, it's being rejected, it's not being rejected because it's a bad idea. As a matter of fact, most would agree that the United States involvement would actually minimize, if not completely stop, the strikes. And the land is destroyed. And where are those resources going to come from to build it up? Arab nations have said that they would contribute to the rebuilding, just like as you just read what the Prime Minister of Egypt has said, that he totally believes in the rebuilding, and also feels that Palestine and Palestinians deserve their own state. But when it comes to asking people to leave their land, what they consider to be their land, in exchange for who they consider to be their enemy, to sworn enemy too, to be able to take over, that's a tough one to swallow. So what we're in for right now is we're in for a whole big media. It's going to be a media onslaught. Okay, but you have to do your due diligence and make sure that you read in between the lines. What are they really rejecting? It's not Trump's plan. Everybody would agree that that's a good idea, and the United States involvement would be great, and the Palestinian people need some place to live. What is not being welcomed and what is not being warmly accepted is placing those people in somebody else's country due to the reasons that I just gave. So let's listen to the president as he explains with Netanyahu what his position is, and then I'll come back with my commentary. And if you're enjoying this video, do me a solid, hit that like button. I'll never ask you for a cash app, I'll never ask you for a super chat, but you hitting that like button does help spread the video around and make it to where other people get a chance to see it. And if you aren't subscribed to the channel, subscribe, and once you do, hit the notification bell and select all. That way you'll be updated when I upload new videos. So check this out.
We'll take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site, level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out, create an economic development that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housing for the people of the area. Do a real job, do something different. Just can't go back. If you go back, it's going to end up the same way it has for 100 years. I'm hopeful that this ceasefire could be the beginning of a larger and more enduring peace that will end the bloodshed and killing once and for all. I ended the last administration's de facto arms embargo. on over $1 billion in military assistance for Israel. And I'm also pleased to announce that this afternoon, the United States withdrew from the anti-Semitic UN Human Rights Council and ended all of the support for the UN Relief and Works Agency, which funneled money to Hamas and which was very disloyal to humanity. 2 weeks.
See, what people, and I'm sure you may know this, but the Biden administration, it all began with President Obama. You see, Obama was raised up a Muslim. He was, people don't want to believe that, but he was. And when you look at his policies and you look at the Biden administration's policies, you can see it. Remember, Vice President Kamala Harris refused to even meet with Netanyahu. She blew him off. And this is why she was running for president. Joe Biden took 2 years before he met with Netanyahu. Trump meets with him within his first 2 weeks. Like it or love it, hate it or love it, the fact of the matter is something has to be done in that area. It has to, or else the Palestinian people run a risk of just being completely wiped out. And like I said, I get it. If it's my home and my land, and somebody's coming to take it from me, I may be willing to die on my land, on what I regard as my land, before I let somebody else take it from me. And is that an individual's right? It is. But at the same time, does everybody have that same feeling and conviction? Not all the Palestinians may feel that way. They may or they may not, I'm not sure. But the purpose of sharing this information is that right now we have a huge issue going on, and that is over in the Middle East. And it's only going to lead to more and more and more and more. So we do need strength. And it may be uncomfortable for a second, but without it, what is the alternative? Because Hamas and the Houthis are not going to stop. They're not going to stop. And that means that the Israelis are not going to stop. And the more involved the Israelis get, guess what happens? That drives more United States resources and potential military being involved for something that could have been avoided if our administration before would have been on the job, as opposed to laid up in the beach getting his suntan, or his vice president running around cooking greens in a bathtub.
Ago, I once again designated the Houthis as a terrorist organization. They're trying to destroy world shipping lanes, and that's not going to happen. We want the Arab and Muslim nations to have peace and have tranquility and have great lives.
Now, the president is going to take some questions from the press, and really the answers that he gives are dead on. Again, he's not going to be able to make, everybody happy. If he does this, the Palestinian people are going to be pissed off. If he doesn't do it, the Israelis are going to feel like they have to do the job and finish the job, which is going to piss some people off. And so right now, due to weakness in the prior administration, this president has to come in and do the unpopular thing, which is make decisions that either which way he goes, there's going to be a lot of darts thrown at him, when really we just have to watch and see how it plays out. The fact that we're involved, Israel has always been our ally. But the Houthis and Hamas, they are not organizations that you can negotiate with. And they're going to say, you know what? Yeah, that's right. That's enough. No, they're going to keep coming, which means the Israeli people are going to keep coming. And so check out these answers that the president gives to the press.
Gaza thing has not worked. It's never worked. And I feel very differently about Gaza than a lot of people. I think they should get a good, fresh, beautiful piece of land, and we get some people to put up the money to build it and make it nice and make it habitable and enjoyable and make it a home.
They don't want to leave, though. Palestinians say they don't want to leave.
I don't know how they could want to stay. It's a demolition site. It's a pure demolition site. If we could find the right piece of land or numerous pieces of land and build them some really nice places with plenty of money in the area, that's for sure. I think that would be a lot better than going back to Gaza, which has had just decades and decades of death.
So as you see, you've seen that, and that's what's going on. So, really prayers and condolences go out to everybody who lost their lives on all sides involved in this. And hopefully we can have a swift resolution. The last couple of years has not been very much movement as far as on progress between the two sides. Right now, we have a very soft and delicate ceasefire going on. And, most high God willing, we'll be able to get a resolution to this. But what are your thoughts on this? Do you feel the United States should get involved? Do you feel the United States taking over and building up communities and residences and places to live over there is a positive thing for the people of the land? Do you feel that, do you agree that the Palestinians should have their own state on that land, or maybe should it be developed someplace else? Or do you feel like that's their right? Either which way on this channel, we welcome it all, because on this channel, I share sales strategy and political and current events. And your opinions, your thoughts are muchly appreciated. So thank you so much for watching. Remember, like the video, share the video, subscribe if you haven't. Other than that, I'm Brian Maxwell. Looking forward to seeing you at the top. Over and out.